Welcome to episode 265 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It's Saturday, people. Saturday, the 11th of February, 2023. He says, his voice almost breaking there. Finally, here we go. How are you people doing out there? I am doing fine. Didn't even wait for a response. Look at that. Didn't even wait for a response. It's almost like I have no concept at all of how you are doing out there. It's Saturday, people. It's been a bit of a busy week for me this week. I have been celebrating. I'm not really celebrating. I'm not really one of those, but I had my birthday this week. Holy fucking shit. So I'm not going to tell you the exact date because I get listeners from various places around the world that I think are gleaning information from this podcast with the intent of stealing my identity. Which at this age, people, at the age I am now, 46, I can tell you my age, and you can narrow it down. If you do want to go through the podcast, like all 260 fucking 4 previous episodes and glean information and listen to my amount of drivel that I have spewed out into the internet since this podcast started, then I take my hat off to you if you have that sort of patience to be able to listen to hours and hours of this and glean information. You deserve everything you can fucking steal from me. That's what I say. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. I was 46 years old, late 40s now. I kept kidding myself last year at 45, saying I am mid 40s, which technically is at 45, but 46, I am on that downward trajectory now towards 50, and I've been doing a bit of stock taking this week, people, and things are not going to plan. There's just a little, just a little conclusion that we've all come to here at the Ben Briggs podcast. Things are not going to plan, but I thank you for your listenership anyway. I've been doing a few. I've got a few nice things. I've got a fucking on-air sign behind me from Chlois. She pulled it out of the bag. Shout out on the podcast to Ben Briggs podcast listener Chlois Lame. Not a real name changed to protect the innocent or the not so innocent, depending on how she's acting. But thanks a lot for that. That's quite nice, isn't it? We know you will now be able to see. Although saying that, I'm not sure it's showing up that well on the because the lights I have here and that sort of thing, it seems to be reflecting off. Anyway, it was a fucking bloody nice thought, and genuinely it warmed this fucking stone cold fucking old heart of mine. So that was very nice. I got a card from some nice people as well, and a few little bits and bobs, innit? That's what it's all about. And then on the eve, here's where you can do your research to find out what day it was. On the eve of the old birthday eve, I went out. I fucking went out. I left these 4 walls, and I actually fucking went out and went to the local comedy night in Northampton, the Comedy Craze. Shout out to those guys, and watch comedy, which is very odd. It's a weird thing when you're doing comedy, when you've done stand-up, and it's like, I think it's my anniversary this week as well of when I started, because I started sort of like the day after my birthday. So It's 15 years since I started doing stand-up. It's been one hell of a journey, people, isn't it? People, good gigs, bad gigs, people want to punch your head in. There's been... dear. I've essentially, for the last 15 years, been travelling around the country angering people at what I say on stage. But, you can't please everyone, it seems, unless you do watered down material. Not that mine is particularly out there, we like to tread the lines here at the Ben Briggs podcast, don't we? Like within our material and shit like that. But that's one of the things where I've been sort of like writing new stuff and that sort of thing. And, everybody talks about the present climate of comedy. Oh, you wouldn't get away with that anymore. You wouldn't get away with this anymore. Well, no, you can't get away with racism or bigotry anymore, but you can sort of like, you can address certain issues and talk about stuff and make it funny. People do it, don't they? The greats do it, don't they? Chappelle, Louis C.K., he was caught wanking. Oh, I don't, his fucking comedy's good, isn't it? Cosby. That's one where you can, everybody says about, but what about, you can detach the artist from the art. Not too sure about that one. To be honest, too sure about Bill Cosby. Or apparently, though, he is meant to be touring again. So if he does continue that behaviour, you've got to say that anybody who gets caught by Cosby this time, you've only really got yourself to blame. You shouldn't blame the victim. Hey, victim blamer. But I think in that case, that is one case where you could actually blame the person. Did you not get the news? Have you not heard? Did you not Google Bill Cosby tickets? And then the first 1,000 articles that came up before that were all about how he's been in prison and shit. Have you not? Before you actually got to the fucking ticket link. I don't know. Anyway, I love the idea of that. Dear. I don't know what the hell's he going to talk about. When Louis C.K. Addressed his issue, he said, do you want to talk about it? And did it in a special. And I thought he handled it quite well. But how the fuck is Bill Cosby? You can't just open with a joke about fucking parking spaces or, TikTok dances, can you? Everyone's going to be sitting in the audience. They just want to know his side of it. Unless he just reels out, comes on stage with his fucking lawyer. He's got bodyguards with him, but that's to protect the audience rather than him. I don't know. Anyway, I went out Thursday night. That's the point I'm trying to make. Let's have some coffee. There we go. A bit of coffee. Keep me awake. And keep you awake. I suggest you make yourselves a coffee as well if you're listening to this. Went out Thursday night. It's very weird watching comedy when you're not actually on, because you still get, it's really fucking weird. You still get kind of fucking nervous, kind of like that feeling in your stomach as if you're about to go on stage, but there's no real release to it. And I am a fucking bad audience member. I'm a fucking terrible audience member, because I'll just sit there and I'll go, that was good. That's a fucking nice line. That's a really good line. I like what he's done there. He's done that really well, or they've done that really well, or she's done that really well, or Z's done that really well. I don't know, people. Don't blame me for all this. So I'm just sitting there sort of like just kind of enjoying the night. It was kind of, I don't really watch that much live stand-up. I know that seems an odd thing to say. There's certain acts if I'm on with, I'll watch them or whatever, but a lot of the times I just want to do my bit, get home. And it's a very different sort of scene in the UK than it is in the States. They seem to have a very green room heavy sort of scene in the States, you know, like where everybody's hanging around. Hey man, are you hanging around in the green room? You goddamn right I am, Chad. You know, that sort of thing going on over there. Whereas here we're like, we're very lone wolfish here. There's no real, because even if you do a comedy club or something like that, most acts will turn up like 5 minutes before they're on stage and do their bit and then fuck off. Nobody stays the rest of the night because you're travelling from far and wide. I think London gigs are a little bit different, but every time I gig in London, I'm always in and out because I want to get home. And I'm driving, so you don't stop for drinks or anything like that. But every single club up and down the country here has got people like just acts turning up about 10 minutes before they go on doing their bit and then fucking off. There's no sort of like green room banter or hanging around outside. And the days of being given hotels, they're pretty much over and done with, people. So you don't really stay over anyway. And most places in this country as well are like drivable, unless you're from up north and you're doing somewhere like down south, doing somewhere like London or, you know, Brighton or, Cornwall, somewhere like that, you're going to stay over. But like even I've done that journey in a night, gone down to Cornwall and back in a night. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a killer. I'm not saying I didn't sleep in my car for the allotted hour and a half or 2 hours that you get in the fucking services before they clock you for vagrancy. But I've done that journey before. So you know, the green room bands isn't as sort of like isn't as prolific over here as it is in the States, because nobody really hangs around that much. And I'm the same, although I'm not one of those people who can get to a gig and then like just 5 minutes before a gig rock up, go on stage, do my bit and then come out. I have to have a good at least hour of judging and hating the audience before I walk on. I don't know, let's have a little bit more coffee. So I went there. The lineup was good. Michael Fabry was opening. He was fucking fantastic, man. Absolutely rocked that. I thought he was did really well. There was an act I hadn't seen before, Sam Nicoresti, in the middle. They did really well. Got my pronouns right there. Fucking good lad, Ben. And somebody was closing, and I can't even remember their name. And I hadn't even had a drink at that stage. But they did well. It's not really my thing, but they did very well. He did very well. You know, like, I can't for the life of me think what his fucking name was. But they've been on TV and stuff. I should know this. That's how much interest I take in other acts when I go to watch them. Hey, they're not me. I don't even have to remember their fucking name. Who are you? I should have just been shouting that all night. But they did really well. But it was, I thought possibly they got the order the wrong way round. But there you go. But Michael Fabry was absolutely fantastic. I definitely suggest checking his stuff out online. There you go. So that was the evening. Then the next day, The next day I had the old fucking dentist in the morning. Here we go. Here's the license to print money. 5 minutes I was in the fucking dentist. 5 minutes slapped with, I think they cost me about 30 quid for 5 minutes with a guy. He just went around with a little thing and went, yeah. Your gum disease is coming on really well. And I was like, does that mean good, or does that mean, is that a bad thing? Does that mean it's progressing? No. Like in most people, apparently I have superhuman gums. Who'd have thought that, people? I had gum disease when I was smoking. And now, the old gums, they're like fucking Wolverine, people. They're healing themselves. And will eventually die in some sort of sequel down the line. Or prequel. No, it wouldn't be a prequel, would it? It'd be a sequel. Yeah, so I went to the old dentist, and then I had to go... I dropped that was the thing. I dropped the fucking car off because my car, they guilt trip you these days. That's what they do with cars these days. They guilt trip you. Because my car comes up with when it needs a service, and I'd done like 12,000 miles over the allotted amount of miles that you need to do before you get another service. I know, people, but it's different rules when you're on the road out there, isn't it? You know what I mean? We don't live like normal people, yeah? We're doing, over 1,000 miles a week or something. That's like, you're not going to get a service every fucking, 2 months or something. Oh, yeah. If you're doing, 1,500, sometimes, a lot of miles a week. So I was bang over the amount of service I needed to do. So I took it down to the old mini garage because I used to take it to a local garage in a fucking village, and every time I'd get it back, it'd be full of shit. Not literal shit, people. I don't know. I'm not questioning their dietary habits, but I'd take it down there. They didn't even put a seat over a cover over the seat. There'd be like oily hand marks all over the place. There'd be fucking, no doubt, something missing off it. They didn't really give a shit. The last time I went down there, I walked in and usually they're all right and that, and I had a beanie hat on or whatever, and I went, "Oh, how you doing? You all right?" And they just looked at me like I was a piece of shit until I took the beanie hat off and they recognised me. At which point they were a little bit nicer, but I was just like, fuck these guys. I'm willing to pay a little bit extra just to not get shit all over my car. Plus the fact they cleaned my car at the mini garage inside and out, got it back. It was fucking spotless. You pay about 100 quid more or whatever, but also down at the mini garage as well, it's not enough to give them a service. Everybody wants to fucking bend you over these days and fucking, jizz all over your prostate when they're trying to charge you for shit these days. So I got thoroughly fucking prostate soaked by them because they were like, "Oh, do you want your brake fluid changing as well?" Like, normal service is 350 quid. Normal service resumed is 350 quid. And I was like, yeah, just change the brake fluid or whatever if it needs doing as well. Okay, we'll do that. And I was on the phone. They ring you. That's what they do. You drop the car off, then they fucking ring you about 5 minutes later and say this needs doing, because they fucking know that you're busy doing something else at that point. You're just trying to get out of there. You're either in the car with somebody. What I was doing, I was walking up to the fucking dentist, and I had about 5 minutes to make the appointment. So I was in a rush anyway. And they ring you with all this stuff, and then you go down, pay for the bill, and it's 500 quid. And you're like, fucking 150 quid for fucking new brake fluid? Jesus. And then they go, oh, one of the front tyres is about, 1 mil above the legal limit. Well, that's fine. We're going to use that 1 mil, okay? We're going to get right down to the legal limit as much as possible. I'll measure it every day if I fucking have to, sweetheart. Yeah? We're gonna get. That tyre needs to fucking earn its keep. That's what it needs to do. Instead of needing to be replaced every fucking 9 months. And then the brake, the discs and the pads at the back need doing as well. So when she totted it all up with this other, it was about 800 quid. And I was like, fucking hell. That's at the point you start thinking to yourself, okay, so what's the minimum I need to spend to keep this fucking money pit on the road without A, breaking the law, and B, killing myself? Come on, let's do that equation. Let's see where that is on the monetary scale. So I've got to get the tyre done within the next month. I've got to get the brakes done within the next 2 months, apparently. But it's every fucking time you go down there. You know, it'll be nice just to take it down for a service. And I go, okay, what's the deal? Well, actually, we need nothing else. It needs nothing else doing. It is absolutely in tip-top condition. Thank you very much for not pulling my fucking pants down and trying to fucking breed me. So that's that rant about that. 46, I should be past this now, shouldn't I? You know what I mean? I should know by this age that when you take something down for a service, it's not just that needs doing, it's something else, isn't it? It should be called, they ought to offer the service Plus. Oh, what's the plus? Oh, well, it's going to be something else on there that we find. How can they find that in fucking 5 minutes? That's what I want to know. Let's have a bit more coffee. Oh no, I tell a lie. They found the brake fluid thing in the 5 minutes. They stung me with the other bits when I got back. When they rang me later on to come and pick up your car. There's also these bits as well. We can keep it in overnight and fucking, shaft you in the midnight hours if you prefer. Or if you prefer being fucked in daylight, you can bring it in at your convenience. Okay, I'll do that. I prefer having my pants pulled down in daylight. At night time, it scares me a little bit, so don't keep the car in overnight. Jesus. Anyway, these things at 46. Well, that's what I was going to talk about. Things, a reflection on the last year, people. This is it. I have, things have been going better stand-up wise. I've been getting more gigs with better clubs and stuff. That's good. Things seem to be picking up a little bit more. I just need to knuckle down and get this fucking new stuff done. And try that out at places. It's easy to shit out of new material nights. This is one thing I've found over the years. So you just got to do it fucking raw. I did notice something as well. Somebody fucking annoyed me the other night when I was out as well. Said something that really that a couple of years ago, pre-40 maybe, 42, 43, I would have gone fucking ballistic at this cunt. But I held my tongue. I just made light of what they said and moved on. But fuck me. There's people out there who fucking take the piss sometimes, man. I don't know why I'm talking about this. They're not going to hear it on it. But it's just one of those things where you just think, no, it's not worth it, Ben. Maybe that is what getting old is. Maybe that's it, is it? It's just that little voice that just thinks, it's not really worth it. What are you going to get out of this? I don't know. He says after just ranting about the fucking mini garage in Northampton. Maybe that's it. Maybe doing this podcast has actually calmed me down in real life. I get everything out here, but fuck me. The cheek of what somebody said and my reaction of, I was actually quite proud of myself. You know what I mean? When you go, okay, Ben, that's an easy thing to react to. Saying something quite personal there. That guy, you're going to let that guy get away with that, are you? You know what? I am going to let him get away with that. I'm just going to smile. And then I'm just going to put it in that little fucking lockbox, that little bank at the back, where I just segregate people a little bit and you just become a little bit more distant from that person. That's it, isn't it? You just take that little box, put it over there, and then just sweep that to one side and you carry on and everything's going to be okay and you're not going to murder anybody today, Ben. That's what you're not going to do. You're not going to cause a scene. You're not going to fucking grab somebody by the neck. You're not going to do anything like that. You're just going to put that to a box to the side. You're going to change the conversation. We move over here and we move on to something else to talk about, and everything progresses well. There we go. That's it, isn't it? That's what being a grown-up is, people. Just taking those little things, putting them to the side. There you go. No need to react. We'll just put it over here with all this other shit about other people. Until that's fucking full and bursting. And then we get a gun, we go on a rooftop and we just start picking off people. That's what we do. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to every now and again just have a bit of a clear out and go, right, if I react to this one thing, then all of those other things, that clears them out the way. It's like deleting your fucking bin on your computer, isn't it? And everything's going to run a little bit quicker. Isn't it? It's going to be easy to start up and it's going to be able to save more information. There we go. If we clear that bin, I don't know, people. Let's have a little bit more coffee. How long left we got? We've got 3 minutes left, people. Shout out a topic you want me to talk about. Fucking hell, almost drowned in that coffee then. Far too much. Anyway, it's been a pretty good year, I think. This time last year, I didn't have anywhere to live. This Briggs Towers here was not Briggs Towers. It was just no-name towers. So, we're gradually moving forward. That's what life's about, people, isn't it? You take a few fucking knocks, you take a few fucking little digs like that. You just cover up in the bad times, don't you? Cover up, take those fucking rabbit punches. You can take them all day. Just don't put your chin out and get fucking knocked down. And if you do get knocked down, you might as well just be counted out at this stage, innit, at the age of 46. Oh, dear. So it's been quite a nice week, to be perfectly honest. Friday was quite nice as well. Yeah, after leaving the dentist, before re-picking my car up as well. Also, that's the thing. I booked a taxi to go back to pick my car up. I haven't booked a fucking taxi for years. Years, I tells you. I didn't know it had gone all high-tech on the old fucking phone line. You don't actually speak to a taxi controller anymore. It's all, I don't know how the fuck he found me, because I rang up, I think it was Bounds Taxis, classic, 60-40-40. That is Bounds, isn't it? I'm sure it is 60-40-40. Whatever number. I'd even forgot. That's how bad it got to, with having not booked a taxi for ages. I've never been in an Uber. This is how old I am, people. I don't want to book an Uber. I don't trust it. I sound old now, don't I? I don't trust these newfangled internet taxis. They're not even real. I rang up old school. Didn't do it over the internet, people. Didn't do it for a fucking app. Yeah. Old school. 60-40-40. Bang. Used to be 60-40-40. Now you got to put the 01604 before it. Rang up. You get through to a fucking, even on a taxi service now. What happened to fucking Westbridge? I used to ring up Westbridge. My fucking science teacher at work, Mr. Jackson. He used to work. He used to work the fucking taxi desk on a Friday and Saturday night. He used to be the controller. So we'd ring up and just say, "All right, Jacko, any chance of a?" He wasn't Mr. Jackson then. He was just Jacko. All right, Jacko, any chance of a taxi to this address? We're going to this pub. That's what we used to do. We used to ring up our old science teacher. He was still, by the way, he was still a fucking teacher at that point. He was a teacher in the week, and he used to work Fridays and Saturdays on the fucking taxis. He used to like a drink. He used to come into school smelling of alcohol. Looking dishevelled, constantly a marriage breakdown, I imagine. But he was a fucking nice old boy. And he used to get us a taxi. But now they've got an automated system, not dished out by the likes of Mr. Jackson. And I think you have to just say your fucking address in there. And I was like, flat whatever. And then it just come up with a building and said, did you just say that? Well, I did just say that bit, yeah. But do you need the flat number as well? So anyway, he got here, give me a ring. And then it was great. I just said, I'll come down and stuff like that. But it was just, talking to the taxi driver, who was an Eastern European guy. I can't narrow it down. I'm just going to say Polish, could be anything else. Could be anything else. But him, Jesus, going on about, how much shopping costs him. He's got 4 kids, his shopping's gone up, everything's gone up, and all this sort of thing. It's not really, And then I started spouting shit about, the having to pick my car up from the mini garage and how much that was going to cost me. People, if you enjoy me ranting on here about the cost of things, particularly and the state of our society at the moment, you should hear me sitting in the front seat next to a Polish / other Eastern European place that I'm not aware of and couldn't tell, but we're going to narrow down to Polish taxi driver. You should hear me next to him. People, he was fucking loving it. He was going to go home that night, tell his Eastern European wife. I imagine he's married to an Eastern European wife. I don't know. And his Eastern European children that are possibly British citizens because they were born over here. About how I empathised with his plight as a taxi driver with 4 people. This geezer's working 6 nights a week, 12-hour days he's doing, 6 days a week, sometimes 7. You know what I mean? I know we're all thinking the same thing. He's got 4 kids. It did cross my mind, but he was loving everything I was going to say, but I wasn't going to leave him with, hey, there's a tip for you. £5 tip, that's it. That's the kind of guy I am. On a £10 ride, I give a £5 tip. Yeah. Because I liked him that much. And here's another tip for you, buddy. Pull out. You don't have to leave it in there, do you? Would save you at least £20 to £30 a week on food, my old buddy. There you go. Just a little tip for you there. I don't know, people. I don't know. Anyway, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you for bearing with me. It's been great, guys. Hey, guys, you've been great. It is. That is episode 265 of this podcast, people. Have a great weekend, the rest of Saturday and Sunday. And I will speak to you on Tuesday, motherfuckers. Have a good rest of your weekend. Take care.